see. How about now? Do we have audio now? It's been a while since I've been on here. So, how about now? Do we have audio now? Do we have audio now? Well, okay, there we go. Okay, so we have audio. Thank you so much. Okay, so it's a bit of a delay. I came on here because I wanted to say hi to everybody. It's been a little while here, so we're on. Just checking in. Baseball season. It is not anywhere close yet, but what I wanted to say is I've got a little bit of an issue with the way they do stuff. I have a little bit of issue with the way that we give away the regular season awards at the end of the season. The regular season awards should already be tallied up, voted on, everything else like that. You should know who the manager of the year was, Buck Showalter, and then you had I think it's Terry Francona from Cleveland. I don't understand the fact that we have to turn in this, the regular season awards at the end of the season because you have it skewed by the postseason. A lot of people sit back and say, well, Shohei Ohtani wasn't in the offseason and, it doesn't, or in the postseason, so his numbers are skewed. And then you have people say, well, it doesn't matter what Aaron Judge did, no matter if he strikes out or not. It's a regular season award. So they kind of have their cake and eat it too, because whatever narrative they want to use, it works. Because they're able to say, well, he's having a great postseason. I don't see Shohei Ohtani there. Well, then Shohei Ohtani gets snubbed. If he has a bad postseason, well, it's not about the postseason. It's about the regular season. Well, then why don't you already know that Buck Showalter brought the Mets back to life? Then give him his damn prize at the end of the season. Do the same thing with Terry Francona. Cleveland and the Mets made it into the postseason. Give them their awards there. Aaron Judge is your home run king for whatever reason, and you think that's valued above pitching and above everything else, wins above replacement and all that other nonsense. Well, then give it to Aaron Judge at the end of the season. Don't let it lag out to the end of the season. Paul Goldschmidt was your clear MVP in the National League. Give it to him at the end of the season. So I just have I'm frustrating. I'm frustrated the way they did it because I'm going to go over the numbers real quick. Aaron Judge, okay, let's look at his career right now. He was 24 years old in 2016, 27 games played. He had 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. 2017, Aaron Judge played 155 games, 52 home runs, 114 RBIs. Great season, right? Great season. 2018, at 26 years old, he dropped down to 27 home runs, 67 RBIs, and 112 games played. Injury-plagued season. Next season, same thing. 102 games played at the age of 27, 27 home runs, 55 RBIs. Again, only 102 games. 2020, shortened season. He was a little injury-plagued. COVID, 28 games played, 9 home runs, 22 RBIs. That season should have never counted. I've gone over that many a times. 2021, 148 games played, 39 home runs, 98 RBIs. He had 158 strikeouts. He had 208 strikeouts in his 2017 quote-unquote rookie year. So you're striking out an average about 140 to 150 each season. Now, go to this season at the age of 30. 157 games played, 570 at-bats, 133 runs scored, 177 hits, 28 doubles, which is the highest he's ever had in his career, 62 home runs. He had 2 grand slams, 131 RBIs, 111 walks. That's not career high, but that's right there. He had 175 strikeouts, which was, again, not a career high, but still 175 strikeouts. So you got those numbers right there. So 62 and 131, those are massive numbers. Those are A-Rod numbers in his freaking prime. So you go over to Shohei Ohtani, and you look at just the batting version right here. And you look at 157 games played as well this season. Batting average of 273. I didn't give you Aaron Judge's batting average. Aaron Judge's batting average is, where is it here? 311 this year. So 311. That's outstanding. Shohei Ohtani, on the other hand, he was 273. On-base percentage of 356, slugging of 519, not as high as Aaron Judge, obviously. He had 90 runs scored compared to 111, 3 fewer at-bats than few more at-bats than Aaron Judge. 160 hits, so 17 short of Aaron Judge. He had more doubles with 30. He had more triples with 6. He had 34 home runs, about far shorter than what he hit. Obviously, half of what he hit, and 95 RBIs. And 95 RBIs is not Shohei's fault. That is the fault of the fact that we have nobody on base in front of Shohei Ohtani. And then he had 72 walks, 161 strikeouts. Now, there was a point where Shohei Ohtani struck out way too much, but again, that's the power hitter. That's the whole Paul Sereno, Jeremy Reed, we got to swing for the fences every goddamn at bat. Now, again, this is a freaking season award. Not a there's no playoff stats I'm reading off here. No matter what, even if Shohei made it, there's no playoff stats. Pitching. Now you throw it over to the pitching. 28 games started, 15 wins, 9 losses. We've all agreed that he could have had about 4 or 5 more wins this year, because and he actually got himself 4 or 5 more wins because of the hitting was good. Or that he saved his own team. But he could, if the hitting was good, he'd probably have at least 20 to 21 wins. 166 innings pitched most of his career, 124 hits allowed, not bad. 45 runs allowed, 43 earned, 14 home runs given up all season in a home run-driven league, 44 walks only. 44 walks. 219 strikeouts with a low ERA of 2.33. Now, I'm going to look up Verlander real quick at his stats because he is obviously the Cy Young. And, I'm not taking it away from Verlander by no means because, Verlander, in my opinion, whether you like Houston, whether you don't, his stats bared out what they should have been for Cy Young. I mean, he was phenomenal. 1.75 ERA. I just wanted to see his stats here if I can get them. And magically I can't here. I'm trying to pull up the numbers here for his strikeouts for this season. See, he had less strikeouts. He had 185 strikeouts. Opposing batting average was 175. I want to see. He gave up 29 home runs this year. So, I mean, Shohei kept it in the park a lot more. 18-4, so they started about the same amount of games. He started far less innings too, 175, so about 35 to 40 innings less than Shohei Ohtani. And here's my theory on this, and one of the reasons why I came on tonight and to do this show is not just to toot any kind of horn or anything else like that, but just to say like, hey, you know what? It's kind of frustrating to see, and I'll get to the comments. It's kind of frustrating to just talk about the fact that Shohei won basically most of the important awards last season, and we saw him get showered with gifts by our fearless leader, Artie Moreno. It's just, it's frustrating to see the fact that it's obvious they didn't want to give him any awards this year. Despite what he did, I think they wanted to prove a point. Like, hey, you got to make the postseason. If you look at the award winners, most of the award winners, if not all of them, had made a postseason run. They're trying to make a example out of Shohei. Shohei put up comparable numbers, and again, his numbers, as far as you say, well, Todd, he hit half the amount of home runs as Aaron Judge. You take Shohei away from this team, and this team is worse than the freaking Pirates. They're worse than the A's. They're worse. They're just a terrible team. And with Trout not in the lineup, I mean, look at how many games Shohei did. I mean, the pitching can only get you so much. I think we've seen that all season. The scoring was not there to where you had guys with great ERAs have losing records. So with the Angels, it's going to have to be revitalizing that hitting. And when you have that, and the fact that the media is upset, the fact they have to stay up and watch, God forbid, Shohei Ohtani from the East Coast, they're not going to want to vote for him because the sexy pick is their guy that's in their backyard, which is Aaron Judge. The sexy pick is Justin Verlander, making it back from his second Tommy John, pitching in the World Series, getting a World Series title. It just seems like more of a popularity contest than a realist contest, like as far as going based only on the stats, going based only on the regular season. I think that they like to say that the postseason doesn't affect the regular season stats. Well, then why do you wait for the postseason to be over to present these awards? You don't have to do that. Just give it away when the damn season ends. So with that being said, I'm going to get into a few of these comments. Everyone was, let's see, Dylan saying off to a horrible start. Let's see, I do deserve the nachos tonight. What's up, Leaf? There's a few other people checking in saying yes about the audio. Hey, everybody. Let's see. Ohtani had one of the best seasons of all time. Josie says did not get one award. Yeah, and again, he got a lot of awards last year. He was snubbed big time this year, and they wanted to prove a point because I think a lot of the national media realizes that if he puts up a season like this again next season, where he's dominating, hitting the ball, he's dominating pitching, who else are you going to give it to? I mean, unless I heard a guy on ESPN say, oh, they're just going to have to create the Shohei Ohtani award. Well, dude, he's a unicorn. There's not going to be many of these guys that are going to come around from whatever country, if it's ours or if it's another one, that's going to do the multiple things that he does. We might not see another player like this for another 20 years, if that. So it's to see what he's doing. Why are you snubbing him in the first place? Because you want to grow the game. You want to make it more international. I said on a podcast with Fernando, it's so frustrating the fact that we don't have more American commercials of Shohei Ohtani trying to talk English, and not to make fun of him, but to have, look, a guy like from Rush Hour, Jackie Chan, made his career even bigger over here in the United States than it was in his native land because he made himself appealing to the American public. You make yourself appealing to the American public, no matter where you're from, you're going to take off worldwide anyway. So if Shohei Ohtani, as big a star as he is, big as the cameras around, make a bubblegum commercial, make a McDonald's commercial, do something like that. It would not only attract more fans to the Angels, it would attract more fans to baseball, which is desperately needed. The younger crowd needs to be in it. You need the hat backwards. You need the attitude from these players, but you need to also promote them. We don't have enough names in media, and Shohei Ohtani is just sitting there like the unicorn that he is that could be used in so many different ways. You could come up with him to market this guy and make him more famous and make the game more famous and make the sport more famous. And Major League Baseball is the worst marketing. Look, you don't even have to look at Major League Baseball to realize that marketing in baseball sucks in general, especially with our own home team. Have you not seen the upcoming schedule of giveaways that this cheap-ass team puts out on the docket for you, the fan, to go see? We get one country concert. You get 3 mysterious bobbleheads, which usually will be a Trout or an Ohtani. And you have a Trout lightsaber night. Then you have some other bags and little giveaways that mean nothing. Then don't do anything for the history of the franchise. Don't build up the future. Don't build up the young players that we have coming through the system. It's just a bunch of the same old crap moving forward. So that's my rant on that. But I'm upset with the way that this team has gone about doing things, and then also the way that the league has treated its players to market them. And then obviously today with the awards, you don't give anything to – you don't even give freaking Ohtani a silver slugger. I mean, that's embarrassing. That is intentional. By it's not a race thing, so I'm not going the race card. That has nothing to do with it. But I am going to say that's intentional to downplay Shohei's achievements. They don't want this guy succeeding in both categories, because if they do and you see him, it's going to be a year in, year out. Let's give it to Shohei because he's going to deserve it. What the freak does he have to do to win another? I mean, to get a Cy Young? He has comparable numbers to freaking Justin Verlander. He has comparable numbers in a way to Aaron Judge. And again, if you put those two together, which they don't want to do, but I guarantee you, if the Yankees had a two-way player, if Shohei played for the Yankees, they would say, oh, well, let's give it to him every year because he's the best guy. It does count where your team is at. It does count about your team's history. It does count about your postseason run. If any of these writers, if any of the media tells you otherwise, it's BS. Because they count all that and they want to make it a popularity contest when it's good for them. But if it's for a small market, if Shohei's in freaking Kansas City, he wouldn't win anything. Because you don't want it. God forbid you give it to a guy in Kansas City. God forbid you give it to a guy in Pittsburgh and places like that. I mean, I'm surprised the Miami pitcher got the Al-Qaeda or whatever his name, Al-Qaeda, whatever his name is, got the freaking Cy Young in Miami. I didn't think they would do that. Chris says, yes, Todd, how about them Seahawks? Yes, I'm really hoping this team gets further moving in the postseason there. Give Terry and Buck the hose. Let's see. Also, Leaf says, I think the NBA awards were announced during the playoffs at one point. I don't know if it's still like that. Like the NFL, the MLB should adopt that. Dylan says, I agree. The MLB show does after the regular season, before the postseason. Vince says, go Cowboys. NL Manager of the Year should have went to Rob Thompson of Philly. Exactly, James. Exactly. I mean, you have basically a team that is come out of nowhere, a bunch of young talent led by Bryce Harper and a few other guys, and Philly had a legitimate title shot right in front of their hands when nobody gave them a shot. The Mets were built for the postseason, and the fact that they got screwed out early is, there it is. Rayu says F the Cowgirls. Let's see. Josie says, I don't think the MLB knows what MVP means. Exactly. Also, right there, Randy says haters. Also, Leaf says hitting-wise, Judge clears. The tricky part to Judge is, no pun intended, as if Shohei's pitching can put it past Judge. Well, here's the other thing, too, Leaf. Judge is a one-trick pony. Have you ever seen him make a defensive diving catch? Have you ever seen him stretch a double into a triple? Have you ever seen him, other than maybe 2 grand slams, which he hit this year, do something spectacular? Is he known for walk-off home runs? Not really. He's a one-trick pony, and they feast off a lot of bad pitching, and he's in an easy stadium to hit home runs. So he's hit 57 home runs before and early in his career in 2017, and he hit 62 this year. But lo and behold, Dansby Swanson had a career year this year too. Dansby Swanson put up MVP kind of numbers for the Atlanta Braves. Is it a Zach Cozart type deal? Is he going to get a deal and then just fall into oblivion? Is Aaron Judge going to go back to hitting 34 home runs and striking out 200 times instead of hitting 62 home runs and striking out 200 times? We'll see. Name that GM that would take Judge over Ohtani, Lil Wayne says. Not too many of them. Not too many of them, because you can go and get 2 players for the price of 1. That's what it's going to come down to. That's what his contract's going to come down to. Let's see. Voters only saw the number 62 of a home runs that Judge hit in the postseason appearance. And look, not only do chicks dig the long ball, some of your best movies are about the home run. What brought people back to baseball? The home run. Again, 61, the Maris movie, if you haven't seen it, is great nostalgia for Yankee fans and baseball fans alike. Just like the movie 42 brought people back to that genre of old school baseball, Brooklyn baseball, and then the struggle with the blacks in integrating into Major League Baseball and what they had to go to. Great movie, no matter what fan you are of the team or whatever, great movie. Same thing with 61. It brought, nostalgia, what Roger Maris had to go through, the death threats on his family, just because he was catching Babe Ruth. And then you see how Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa went through their historic run, and everyone felt great for them until they found out that both of them were juicing. And the one guy that everyone hates the most, Barry Bonds, no real proof, no real, in writing that he did it. A lot of people like to speculate, including myself, that he has a size 9 head, hat size, and he was roided, but technically he was never caught. And maybe he passed when they never, and you'll blame, if you're going to blame somebody for the steroid era, blame Major League Baseball. Don't blame the players, because at a time when they played, they weren't getting tested like they're getting tested now. Now, if you get tested now, you're suspended. You're a Tatis. You've screwed over your career, or you blackballed your career. But those players back then weren't called on the carpet until it was all over. You know what I mean? Until they started actually restricting everything. So I don't blame Bonds. A lot of people say Hank Aaron's the home run champion still. I can see that but I could also see the argument for Barry Bonds. He was never caught, never really broke a rule. So there's a lot to talk about, and that's what we love doing here on this page and venting and whatnot, because we're going to get into a lot of conversations about the upcoming season going on. We're going to talk about, who was robbed and what's going to happen with Shohei. The Angels are also rumored in talking to that Japanese prodigy with a 1.75 ERA, 1.57 ERA, career for Japan, which we'll see him in the World Baseball Classic right next to Shohei. Now, will we see him pitching next to Shohei with the Angels? There's a possibility between him, the Yankees, Mets, and I think the Braves and quite possibly the Dodgers are are already checking on this dude. And I think it would be great is if Shohei would throw his hat into the recruitment and say, hey, you know what, come over here to Anaheim. I like it here, blah blah blah. But we'll see. I mean, Shohei's obviously been frustrated. We got to get back to the postseason. We haven't seen it, so there's a lot to talk about there. Leaf says also Verlander and Alcantara were both unanimous first-time Cy Young Award winners since 1968, the year of the pitcher. Good stats there. Tyler Anderson will be a waste of money, the Halo Realm says. Dylan Ortega says, I would say that Trout, he got 2/3 of his team didn't make the playoffs, so it isn't like the MVP or it's not legitimate in a way because he got most of those with seasons of not making the postseason. And we'll talk about Anderson here in a second. Dylan Ortega also says if Ohtani did get the no-hitter and not get the MVP, I would riot. Yeah, he should have. That's the thing. I think all of us knew that if he got that no-hitter, then that would have set him over the top. Courtney checks in with, did anyone see the top outfielder rankings that were posted on the MLB Network? Angels were ranked 7th, and that's a total outfield unit, and that includes Adele. I hate it here. Yeah, I'm telling you, if Adele had raised his game at any point, that would be great. That's why I kind of wanted Jock Peterson to but he re-signed with the Giants. If he could have came over and gave a left-handed at bat, platooned, and then you could have seen which hitter took off, then that would have been great. But ain't going to be that way this year. Ain't no one rioting. Angels fans are soft as hell. They want to keep crying, putting money out there. No one's taking this team serious. Well, Randy has that point of view. Little Wayne says, no Ohtani giveaway of promotions after the trade deadline. That's kind of scary right there. I don't want to see him leave, obviously. Alex says the only real baseball fans now know he's the real MVP. No excuses on the East Coast voters for Ohtani highlights if they want to go to bed. There's 30-second clips online. Absolutely. And there's not only that, there's YouTube. God damn it. Let's see. Also, Dylan also says, okay, I would just watch after the game in a while. So Dylan said, I'll write myself. Ohtani needs to suck the same thing the Astros owner did to keep his tainted trophy and minimize punishment in signings. Yeah, they got away with a lot, but you know who got away with more than the Astros? The Boston Red Sox. They got caught with cheating. Cora still gets his job back with Boston. None of the players are punished, and we just looked the other way. Marty says, hi, Todd. Hi, Marty. Verlander for Cy Young was a joke, Alex says. I agree. Whoever is the judge of those awards is bad. Is bad, or maybe their name is Aaron. Oh, geez. The Mountain Dew King checks in with, oh, yeah, it's rugby season. And then also the baseball media is pissed off Ohtani, prove them wrong. Wow, they are salty. Don't touch Swanson in free agency, please. I get it. I forgot about Cozart. Judge had a 3 or 4 off homers this year, or walk-off homers this year. Also, I got Judge as best outfielder, but I feel like you're comparing Judge to Adam Dunn. No. I'm not. He is. Look, again, he doesn't have a solid arm in right field or left field or wherever they play him. He's not a guy that's going to make a diving catch. He upped his game this year with walks. I give you that, in his on-base percentage. But, again, he's a one-trick pony, dude. And when you got a guy doing both things, it's kind of hard to vote against him. You kind of got to be stupid. Not even get a vote, it's kind of embarrassing. Dylan says, I say Xander Bogaerts for shortstop. I say he's going to go to the Dodgers. Watch. Halo Realm says, who's ready for the World Cup? Let's see. Judge going back to the Yankees, but hoping the Giants pluck him. I'm guessing the Dodgers pluck him, dude. I really got the Dodgers cutting some salary and then going after Judge like morons. We can bring Calhoun in and Simmons. Oh, let's not do that. I don't want to go down that route. Let's see. Forget about Hank Aaron, who's catching up to Babe Ruth all-time home runs. Astros still have only one ring that is real. No, Grillmaster, they got the first one against the Dodgers. I'm going to give them that one. Going to be honest, Jim Crane trying to be Jerry Jones ends up leading to the downfall of the Astros. I'm going to laugh hysterically. Well, right now they're built to win for a while, and they've got the right people in place. So It's kind of hard to say it. Zach Wilson is the home run champion. He's the MILF champion, that's for sure. Give us your opinion on the Tyler Anderson signing. Look, I'm 50-50 on that signing. I really am. I like it to a degree. But, you're seeing a mediocre kind of pitcher up until he gets to the Dodgers in a pitcher's ballpark with full run support from an all-star lineup kind of makes me look sideways a little bit, saying, okay, do we have an all-star lineup? No. Do we have a pitcher's ballpark? No. Is he another lefty to go along with 50 other lefties in that rotation? Yes. I much rather would like a power pitching right-hander. And there are quite a few that are out there, but Tyler Anderson will do. I think he's gonna have a solid season. If he can replicate a 15-win type performance, maybe even a 14-win, I'd take that in a heartbeat. If he can give us a 3.74 ERA, good. Anything above 3.74 to me is a loss. If he's pitching in the fours, that's a loss. If he has less than 10 wins, that's a loss. If he's starting 26 to 28 games this season with a 3.50 ERA or a little bit low, I don't think, because he's not going to replicate 2.57 in here in this ballpark. This is not going to happen. And with American League's got more mashers without the freaking that's the other thing. You really got to take the stats. I think a fly ball pitcher is going to be more valued this season than a ground ball pitcher. Because, over the last couple years with a shift, the ground ball pitcher is very important because you want them hitting into that shift. So now you got to work it a little bit differently because you're not going to be able to slide the defense the way you want it. You're not going to be able to play that the fourth outfielder and stuff like that. So with that being said, emphasis on the strikeout type pitcher, emphasis on the fly ball pitcher is going to be more valued than a ground ball pitcher, because a lot of those ground balls that we're going to be getting hit right into the shift, like Ohtani's average is going to be 300 and better next year, because and guys like Walsh are going to have better seasons next year, because they're not those guys that would just refuse to hit the other way. They're pull ball hitters. Even a guy like Calhoun, his numbers are going to go up because now he's going to be able to get those balls through first and second base. He's going to be able to pull them down the line. He's going to be able to hit those line drives that fall between right fielder and the second baseman. Those are going to work now. And you're not going to have those massive shifts that are going to take so many hits away from these left-handed hitters and right-handed hitters that like to pull the ball. So we'll see what happens with that, but I do like the fact that they got another starter. Would I like them to get one more? Yes. Would I like them to get that Japanese import? By far. I would love to have him and Ohtani at the top of that rotation and the rest of that rotation falling in. And we just forget, too, we have 2 or 3 starters that are literally knocking on the door of the starting rotation. So guys like Suarez at the bottom of the order, Canning and stuff like that, the guys are trying to hold a spot or get a spot at the end of that rotation, 5th and 6th spots. You got guys like Kai Busch who's ready to roll. I've already heard from a few scouts that, dude, he's proven himself already. He doesn't need a long stint in AAA. He's going to get looked at a lot in spring training. He's going to get a very, very good dose of Kai Busch in pitching in spring training, and he could break camp with a team. We don't know, but they're saying that there's a very good chance if he balls out, he's got a good chance of making the roster. There's a couple other pitchers that came through late in the year in spring in AA and AAA that impressed scouts, impressed the team, the organization. Perry, he's going to give them their just deserves too in spring training. So for the first time in a long time, the pitching I don't really worry about. I just worry about, can Ohapi get off to a good start? Can Statue Stassi not be such an asshole idiot in the box? Can we get any production from them infielders? Can we stay healthy? Can this lineup be actually at 100%? That is what I'm worried about. We need to fill the bench. We need capable bench players that will draw a walk, have high on-base percentage. A guy for me, since Jock Peterson is off the board, is Benintendi. Benintendi is perfect to play left field. To not only push Odell to be better, we'll finally feel that, see that, sending him up and down is not the answer. Keep Odell on the damn roster as long as you possibly can without breaking the dude. Give him every opportunity to succeed. But have a guy like Benintendi that's like, hey, man, you know what? Like, Benintendi's been hitting good the last week. Dell, you got to rest this week. You're going to be on the bench. Work your way back into the lineup. Give this guy incentive without sending him down. And have a Benintendi there, a high on-base percentage guy, to show these guys, and by far a new hitting instructor that's going to preach batting practice instead of under the batting cages under the stadium, and have hitting drills, things like that. Hit the other way. We need proactive hitting instructors, and the jury's out on that. That scares me. So as an Angels fan, over the last 8 years of making the postseason or not making the postseason, 7 of those years I worried about the pitching. Now it's to the point where I'm good. I know what I'm going to get. I have a good feeling about the starting pitching. I have a great feeling about the bullpen. Yes, we need a closer. Josh Hader and a couple other guys are available. Let's get a closer. But I feel good that the bullpen can be reconstructed again. Perry is obviously, his strong suit is pitching. So I'm not worried about the pitching. It's just, can we get the right bench and capable hitters off that bench and not substitute too much defense, but I will substitute some defense to get a better hitter out there. I'm tired of these just pure defensive players that we got on the bench, or pure defensive fill-ins or starters. If these guys can stay healthy, we should mash this year. And I know I said that last year, but dude, that's the problem. Depth, and depth some more. Let's see. Daniel says Ohtani pitching on the Yankees would probably have 20 wins plus, home runs and RBIs. Yankee fans would take Ohtani over Judge any day, especially after those boos for Judge. Absolutely. If you're willing to turn on a guy who's hitting close to 60 home runs, yes, you're going to turn on just about anybody. You'll turn on Jesus. Let's see. Biased Stanky fans. Mateo says, not that Judge's home runs were great, but 42 of those were solos. 42 of the 62 were solos. Pitchers with giving up solo home runs with 2 hitters. There you go. So he's mostly just hitting to hit. Can Judge pitch? No, he can't. Jacob says, if we winning and cheating, fuck it. See, Ty Usher says, young man, sit down or you'll be tossed. Okay, yes, sir. Or thank you, sir. Have another. Boston had an Apple Watch cheating going on with Cora. They sure did. James! Let's see. Grillmaster says, Cozart, Angels legend. Yeah, right. Didn't even last the whole season here. Mattress Mac can fuck off. Yeah, that guy made a lot of money on the Astros. World Cup on Sunday. Go Germany, Mateo says. The Angels MVP chewing record says voting was rigged. Hopefully Angels sign Shohei Ohtani to a long-term deal. New owners, new ownership. That's what's the whole thing. It's going to be it's really going to come down to, can we sign this guy back? And the ownership has to, and if you haven't seen, the ownership has to be in place here pretty soon because of what's going to happen with the court thing. If Artie doesn't sell that team soon, it's going to be less attractive to It's going to be less attractive for the new ownership, because then they're going to be part of that court case, and I don't think a new owner wants to be part of that court case. So let's see who the Angels signed this in the winter meetings, which are on its way as well. David says Justin Verlander should have won 11 World Series championships, 5 in Detroit, 6 with the Houston Astros. Yeah, if he's that good, right? But they've had their chances, and then he's blown his games as well. How quick will Ohtani go in free agency? He wouldn't last a day, in my opinion. Halo Realm says the Dodgers made Heaney look good. Tyler Anderson is not that good as advertised, and that's the problem. But I'm not too crazy about the contract. The contract isn't all that bad. It's about market value, to be honest with you. $360, it's kind of good. We didn't overpay. If we were paying about $375 to $380, yeah, that's overpaying for sure. I'm seeing a lot of comments about Trout in the World Baseball Classic. They are saying that Trout is playing meaningful baseball now. To be honest, I can't even get mad anymore about that. You can't. I mean, why not? I mean, I think he's going to have a fun time, and maybe this will get him going for the regular season because he has traditional slow starts. Ohtani, the same thing. Louis says, who would you sign for shortstop position? I would actually go this route. I would actually sign a guy that we had here before who was in the World Series, and that's Gene Segura, a guy who's had a career batting average of 280. You'll get him at a fair price. You're not overpaying in a market where you don't know how much money you're going to have because of new ownership. So I would go Gene Segura at second base and move our boy to shortstop. What's his name? Fletch. and go that route. And we have a couple other guys who could play there at shortstop, obviously, that we saw down the line. So, you have options. You don't have to go out there and overpay for a damn shortstop. Let's see. Anderson had 3.31 ERA last year. Dude's had issues with home runs in the past. Again, it's really, really a coin flip on that one. It's not really a crazy spending on a pitcher, and it's not really it's not high risk, it's not high reward. It's sort of just like, hey, if it works out, it's good. You can move them after a year and a half. If it's not, so like it's going to be a gamble, but you're not asking Anderson to come in here and anchor your rotation. So you got to think about that too. Do you think that Anderson is a good number 4, number 5 pitcher? I do. Do you think he's a number 1 or number 2? Hell no. So the fact that you're putting him in there in a no pressure situation, I think is only going to work good for him. I think. Let's see. So our middle infielders need to step up their game. They sure do. They hate the big contracts, but cry when we don't get a high-price free agency. Randy's hating our fans right now. See, bring back Trumbo, Rob says. I don't think so. This team needs to know how to hit the ball the other way. They sure do. Shifts are gone. Trout would be an MVP, Ohtani and Trumbo. If we sign Segura, would that can let's see, help Ohtani stay long-term? Absolutely, because, again, Gene Segura is not a sexy name. He's not a guy that's going to demand a lot of money. He would be a perfect fit. He grew up in the Anaheim situation as it is, so why not? With a shift gone, will Ohtani's ERA look what would it look like? We'll see guys like him, Mateo. I don't think their ERAs will be of course, he got helped out with a shift, but not as much as people think because he had that strikeout ratio. He had those swings and misses that were helping him out. So I don't think it's going to be killer to him. It's going to be killer to some pitchers. You're going to see some pitchers, their ERAs are going to balloon. They're not going to be able to survive, or they're just going to have terrible seasons. But you'll see a guy like him, a guy like Verlander, a guy like Kershaw, guys that always have gotten the job done no matter what, are going to be just fine. Also, let's see, I'm not a fan of the new assistant pitching coach, ex-head honcho of Driveline. Cody Senga, that's the guy that I was talking about, chewing records. Shohei Ohtani and the Angels' 5-man rotation plus Kai Busch will be great. The Angels starting pitching next season. Yes, it will. BMSM says Walsh is going to suck. Our 5 to 9 hitters have to hit, or they do have to hit. That needs to change big time. I wouldn't mind if we signed Segura, Armani says. Hot take, Todd, does Trout and Ohtani walk if we don't make the postseason? No, Trout's locked in. He ain't going nowhere. Ohtani, that's very possible. Very, very possible. How dare you? Benintendi was my first idea first. Well, maybe that's where I thought of it first, Catella. He was spouting about him when he was in Kansas City before he made the trade out of there. So there you go. I'll give credit where credit's due. But I just remember Benintendi. It's been a while. It's been an off season where I haven't thought about the Angels much up until that signing. Let's see, keeping Adele on the roster. Words Steve Elise despises exactly. Benintendi, Mancini, and Segura. Mancini would be a nice pickup because I think he had too much pressure in Houston, so you didn't really see the best Mancini, especially in the postseason. But we all know what he could do in the regular season. Let's see. Also, how about Mitch Haniger? I heard that rumor too. Mitch Haniger, a former 39 home run type dude. Catella says Herget is my closer. Look, I like Herget a lot. I just feel that he's more of a Scott Shields type of pitcher. I think he would be much better in a setup scenario. His ERA was like nothing as a setup dude. He was phenomenal. It seemed like the only time he gave up runs was when he was put in spots, tie ball games, or when he was put in spots where the Angels were down and they brought him in to mop up for whatever reason. He did really good as closing at the end of the season where the Angels blew 2 of the 3 games, I think, to Oakland in that final series, and they didn't use Herget. They went with the lefty, and it's like, okay, if it's worked the previous series, why would you get out of that? Josh Hader, Todd, I thought you didn't like lefty closers. I don't, Grillmaster, but for his price and what we need to do and what he could bring to the team and what he would like to prove moving forward, I think he's a perfect fit for Anaheim. I really do. BMSM21 says also Henniger is always hurt. Yeah, you have to take that into consideration, which means he'll fit in great here. Grillmaster says Squiddy Poo, Randy's buddy. Yeah, unfortunately, I saw he's still on the damn roster. That's great. I'm really feeling good about that. Aaron Judge will flip off the Yankees fans when he signs somewhere else. In other words, I'll be rioting if we shut down and you'll pull nothing. So Randy's already calling the fans out. Profar and Segura for depth. Profar would be good, but I have a feeling he's going to demand more money by far than Segura. Only problem is we have $56 million to pay before the luxury tax, which may change depending if we can get a freaking owner in here. Sandy Alcantara deserves a Cy Young. That guy was a stud. Should we trade for him? No, you got to wait for his value to go down, hopefully. Todd's agreeing with us. Benintendi and Segura should be Angels. They should be. Trey Turner is an option. No, he's not, Mateo. I would love, and I mean love, to have Trey Turner on this team. I think he's a perfect Angel. The problem is his price is too high. And also there's a lot of teams that think he's the perfect Dodger. He's the perfect Brave. He's the perfect Met. He's the perfect Giant. He's going to be really sought after, and it's not just because of his defense or his cool slides. He's got the hitting capability. He's got a great eye for the baseball. He takes walks. He's everything you want a hitter to be, and you don't need the home runs from him. If the home run comes from Trey Turner, it's a bonus. He's just that great of a player. I would love for him to be here, but I just don't see it happening. There's too many other teams that are on him. That's why I'm looking more of a budget-friendly type signing and a guy who's just as valuable. You know, a lot of people looked at Gene Segura's postseason run and were like a little disappointed. I was too, especially in the World Series. But Gene Segura has shown during the regular season career where he's bounced around 4 different teams already. Career 275, 280 hitter. He goes the other way, gets a lot of doubles, gets a lot of walks, a very solid defender. I mean, I like him a lot. And again, he's going to come on the cheap. He will come on the cheap. Do you give Ohtani the number 1 spot in the rotation? Absolutely. Should the Angels sign another catcher in free agency? Yes, they should. Jeff says go get a shortstop, but just don't get a high price one is what I'm talking about. A catcher would be good that's not 36 years and above as a backup to go along with Statue Stassi and Ohapi. I think if Ohapi has a great spring training, he's your number 1. I really do. Randy says, right now I've hated the this fan base for almost a decade. It's fallen off really hard. Not a fan base I grew up with, that's for sure. And here's where it's tougher times than my childhood. Well, the thing is about the fan base, it's been jaded a lot. You have your Pujols era, your Josh Hamilton era, and Zach Cozart's, the failed signing eras, the GMs coming and going, the managers coming and going. You had that time period when you were younger and you just wished the Angels would sniff the playoffs and you were fine. When 2002 came, it spoiled us all. We're world champions. We got to get back. 2005 gave us a glimpse of what we could be. We should have won, didn't get there. But for a good 10-year decade, the Angels were the most winningest team in baseball. And I think we got a little spoiled there. And then once that happened, it was like, hey, we turned into Texas Rangers. Not really, depending on the players that are high quality to do the right things, to get the wins, to pitch the games, to get on base. No, we're just like, let's get names. Let's throw money around on stupid players. Let's get guys who don't fit our system. Let's not have a way of doing things. Then Mike Scioscia got over the hill as far as baseball and analytics. The GMs fought. Now we have our Dipoto doing what he should have did here up in Seattle. So a lot of things, this last 10-year decade of Angels baseball has been poor. It's been a lot of, hey, we've got the best player in baseball, we can't do nothing with him. It's been a lot of, hey, we're not in the postseason, we're eliminated by August. It's been really annoying. It's been tough to watch, and you have fans, yes, that Randy is annoyed with, and a lot of fans are annoyed with too, because on one hand you want them to spend money, on one hand you want them to be on the cheap, because they don't know where the organization's going, because the organization doesn't know where it's going. So if you have no direction, the fans will feed off of that as well. And so I don't blame this fan base like Randy does, because what do they got to go by? You're only what have you done for me lately? So we can't look back and say, well, the Angels regime, for a 10-year span. Yeah, that was 10 years ago that they had a 10-year span. We only know what the Angels have done lately. And it's been a lot of disappointment. It's been a lot of nothing in free agency or getting the wrong players. And I think it's hard for Angels fans to sit back and say, okay, well, the Angels now have this direction of we're not resetting and rebuilding. We're just trying to retool. And it's kind of hard concept because I have to go through it with these guys, the hat I'm wearing right now. I thought we were going to rebuild, and it's retooled. It just happened for them in one season because it's easier in football to change over things than it is in baseball. You need every player in baseball. And in baseball right now, I think Perry's doing an excellent job revitalizing this pitching. And it still boggles my mind. People hate the hitting coach. People still don't like the way that they're doing things with the pitching. I'm not a fan of the 6-man rotation, but if it's getting us wins, fuck it. The bullpen's been, I didn't like the way they were maneuvering the players in the bullpen. Once they started to fall in roles when Nevin came around, you saw the best of the bullpen towards the end of the season. We weren't saying the bullpen remarks. That's changed. I think where it's got to change is what do we do with the money we have? How are we going to spend it? How is this team going to be better? And how can it improve and stay healthy? And I hate to say that, but we've needed good hitting like we've needed these players to stay healthy the last few years. And we make jokes about Rendon all the time. Bubble wrap the guy, he's bubble boy. The best hit he had all year was on Winker with his broken forearm or whatever he had. It's like, dude, we need more production. Walshy, mysterious injury. Lower averages, too many. I mean, this team led the league in strikeouts. So the fan base is all over the place. They're apathetic sometimes. They're really happy sometimes. They're positive just because we're winning in September, but then they're frustrated that they see other teams that maybe they think that we should be where they're at in the postseason. Because I'm telling you, we had the same kind of role. I felt better talent than Philly. Why weren't we where Philly was? Maybe not the World Series, but why couldn't we make a postseason run after firing our manager? Why did we have to go on a 14-game losing streak? How is it that Seattle had a roster mirroring ours and problems mirroring ours in the beginning of the season, but they went on a 14-game winning streak, and we went on a 14-game losing streak? In effect, helping them propel them to the postseason and then helping us propel us to our 8th straight losing season. Now going into next year, we got that held over our heads. Jose Abreu at first, or Walsh or left, or we'll see what happens there. Jose Abreu, I'm kind of hot and cold on that guy. Todd, do you think Cody Senga will sign with the Angels? Quite possibly, because if it's one thing this team can do is sign international players. Most of those old heads seem to be real ones. Young ones are just freaking weird. Let's see. What about Mitch Haniger? Again, he's another health issue, but he would be a good hitter. Randy, I agree with Randy. He would be a good bench guy, but would he be willing to come off the bench? That's the problem. How much money do we give Ohtani for the extension? You're looking upwards over $400 million. I don't see it under $400 million. And if they were to sign him for $420 with some weed on the side, that would be a huge discount. Andrew Chafin would be an option out of the bullpen for a fair price. Exactly. Sean checks in with David Fletcher. I met Mitch Haniger's dad. Mateo says, all right. Todd just said he just realized I was still on the Heedy run. Oh, geez. Shut up, Randy. I did not. Adele Davidson, Canny, Junk plans, or Paris for Burns. Yeah, I mean, those are guys you can give up to probably get those players. But yeah, that's not a bad deal right there. But would they pull the trigger? Turner wants to play on the East Coast again, Philly or Atlanta. That's right. I did hear about that, James. Good point. Watch Trout hit a nuke off Ohtani in the World Baseball Classic. I would like to see Ohtani or Trout hit a home run off of one of our pitchers. That'd be hilarious because they do play the Angels. I think it is March 11th or 9th at Tempe, so that's going to be interesting. Landon checks in with Judge is not the ideal AL MVP. Leaf says, Randy, you already have the Jets. You've had way worse. If they signed Senga from Japan, would that convince Ohtani to stay? That would help him out a lot. Let's see. Also, Squiddy Poo is gone to get Correa. Let's see. I want my playoff baseball. That could come at some point. 24 says, imagine not winning MVP unanimously. Exactly. Otani should clear, Judge. Mateo said, Perry said that his goal is to be competitive team next year. That's a goal for any team. That's not like world breaking news or something, but he should say it is playoff. It's not the fan base fault, the Angels owner's fault. I agree. Why are we hating on the new hitting coach? We have to give him a shot and see what he does. I'm not hating on him. I'm just saying that I want to see what he gets. He gets right. I want to see if these guys have less strikeouts. I want to see more contact. I want to see more walks. Hopefully he brings that East Coast baseball here. Randy says, I never blame the fan base. I'm saying with y'all, the way y'all act, one signing to another is freaking weird. I get that. Mateo also says, so now that we traded Raciel, do we still have to pay him Upton's contract? Upton's contract's off the board. Raciel's money's over there in Atlanta. Let's see, because we had Pokemon Reed as one of our hitting coaches, that's why we couldn't score runs. Absolutely. Let's see. Also, my prediction, Otani signs a 9-year, $425 million contract. If we sign Cody Senga, Otani stays. I think he would because it would be one of his countrymen here, and that does work well with the community. It would It would work well here, too. I'm telling you, it really would with the melting pot we have here. All the work I do, and Todd always tells me to shut up and stop yelling. See, here's Randy trying to throw me under the bus. Let's see. I don't know. He gets that from the Angels. Mateo. Heard about DeGrom interest in Texas. Yes, Dylan, I did. Texas is trying to build something. And what scares me is this, is that Seattle has already arrived. Houston is Houston. Texas is trying to catch up with Seattle and the Angels. And do we know that the Angels are in a good spot? Jury's still out on that. But they're competitive, right? And then you have Oakland, which is going to turn into Vegas very soon. They're not trying to win now. But in 2 years, when they do make the move to Vegas, maybe 3, you could be looking at a division that still has a top-heavy Houston, a very, very, very good Seattle team. Hopefully by then a very, very good Angels team. Maybe by then a very, very good Texas team and an up-and-coming Vegas team. Best division in baseball in 2 to 3 years. I'm just saying it right now. It's trending up, and it's scary. It could look like the American League East did this year. Could be the West in 2 to 3 years. That's all. That's my hot take. I think that could be the way to go. Resign Lorenzen Mateo. I think he's gonna be here for sure. I think he's gonna be knocking on our door before we knock on his. EQ says, who else hates the Angels? Can we get Bauer for us? Man, I don't want to touch that guy. Nor does a lot of women. What do you think about we should do with Tyler Anderson next year? Tyler should be the 4 guy, maybe 5. The less pressure, the better, and I think we can get the most out of him. How about signing Rodon? Nah, I'm not with that. I think we need to get a power pitcher, but not another. Nah, I don't think he's the guy. Let's see, Todd, why are you sad? No, I'm good. I'm good. Let's see, please resign the Angels Lorenzen. Growmaster wants that. Ducks lost again. Boy, did the Ducks suck this year. Good God. Should they sign Syndergaard again? Luis, I would take him back, but right now, obviously he took that $20 million contract as a prelude to try to get a bigger contract somewhere else and maybe here. And I don't think the Angels are in the right frame of mind to go out there and spend $200 million for a starting pitcher or $100 million. I just don't see it happening. What's up, Kyle? How you doing? Matt Padingo says, okay, Todd, I have to ask, what do you think of the Tyler Anderson signing? Like I said earlier, Matt, I do like the signing in a way. It's not a killer contract. It's not going to eat us alive. I just would like him to be in a non-pressured situation, so put him in a 4 or 5 and let him do his thing. But I am skeptical about him keeping the ball in the yard. I'm skeptical about him because, he pitched in a pitcher-friendly park, and he feasted off the damn shift. So that worries me. He's got to be more careful with his pitches here in Anaheim. That's, I think he can succeed, but he really needs to get, on the same page. He really needs to he needs to take notes from the other lefties at play here. If we sign Senga, do you think him at number two is a good second behind Otani? No, I think Sandoval would have to slide in there at 2, and then you would put Senga at 3. That's if we were to have him. I don't think you'd put him 1-2. And only for the reason is I want to see him start the year. I want to see the Otani Sandoval back-to-back again. And let's see if we can give Sandoval run support. And then you put Senga in a non-pressure situation facing major league hitters for the first time. And if he can get through the first half of the season, then you move him into the number 2 spot if you feel the need to. But for me, I would like a righty-lefty-righty. And then if you have to go lefties the final 3 spots, then you do that. But a righty-lefty-righty to start a good series versus a good team is what I would like to do. Grillmaster says move Suarez to the pen. If you're going to retain Jaime, I think you keep Jaime there and you keep Suarez in the rotation. Let's see. Also, Catella says, I hate to say it, but Correa at shortstop could be a possibility, especially if they make a deal with a players club option. I could see that too. I mean, who wouldn't want Correa? I mean, again, a lot of fans are still, on the whole idea of, he's a cheater. I'm past that, dude. Like, if a good Houston player's, you mean to tell me you wouldn't take, Alvarez from freaking Houston if he became a free agent? Come on now. Come on. EQ says, keep Silseth. Absolutely. Landon's trolling. Buccaneers beat the seat. Yeah, look, we should have beat you guys. If we had a good first half, that game's over. But, hey, it is what it is. See, rugby season starting up for me. That's exactly what I need. I need to see you in one of those rugby hats, Mountain Dew King. Correa would look sexy in an Angels uniform. You probably would. Let's see. Dodgers don't want him, at least their fans. Yeah, that's the team that's going to be always bitter more than anybody. But it is what it is. But anyway, that's the show. I just want to get on here and vent. By the way, Fernando has got a great interview. If you like Marvel Comics and you like baseball, well, you're going to be in for a treat. We've got one of the Marvel creators on. He's a huge Angels fan. He's going to be talking Marvel Comics with Fernando. It's on the podcast, so please check that out. Like and subscribe if you haven't. Give a 5-star review. We really appreciate it. We're going to be back with any other kind of big free agents signing if the Angels do make one. Other than that, we're going to have Angels content on the podcast form, so be on the lookout for that. It's likely going to be up on YouTube. So we're going to have stuff like that. If you don't like listening to us, you can watch our ugly faces on YouTube. And then as the baseball season gets near, winter meetings, again, we're going to have updates on free agency, and we're going to do player profiles. And then hopefully, the week of March, I want to say 8th through 13th, I'm going to be in Tempe for sure. I'm trying to recruit a few others. I'm pretty sure James will be there. I'm hoping Fernando will be there. I'm hoping we can get Randy there. And we can get a big part of the posse, maybe even Courtney and a few others, Catella Chronicles, and we can go to freaking spring training. I'm going to try to bring my dad out there and have a good time, and that'll be the week that the American team will play the Angels, and you'll see Trout be Captain America against his own team. And then I think they play I want to say the Mariners, or they play someone from the East Coast too. So we're going to try to catch 3 games during the week there and have a good time, hang out around the College Station area of Arizona State, and have a few drinks, do some karaoke like we did last year. So we're hoping, or the year before last, we're hoping that we can get a nice little group out there and get have some fun. So hopefully we'll talk about that more as the season gets closer, and we're going to be getting into full baseball mode probably sometime after January, February, but we're going to have content between then. But we're going to get heavy into baseball as we get closer and closer to spring training, and we know what this team's going to be putting out on the field. So again, hopefully you guys and gals can make it out to spring training with us this year. We're going to have a lot of fun, and there you go. Yes, college babes, Mountain Dew King. There's a lot of good-looking girls at this Arizona State University area. So with that being said, Eddie, we'll get into that. We'll have people, Randy, we'll have people. We'll give you updates as we get closer. And thanks for sticking on this little rant of mine tonight. And hopefully, this is the year we can actually look back and say the pain will be over, and we could be back in the postseason for the first time in 8 years. Everybody have a good rest of your night. Go Angels! As Randy is just having a fun time tonight. Have a good night, everybody.